Yo, this is Trav with Trav Sports Bag, and we're back at it again today, and we're getting into some sports. Really sports this time. It's not just a boxing channel as it might have been. And even more interesting and more incredible, Bias is here. You might think that, yeah, we're going to slip some boxing in here anyway, but no, it's basketball. He actually knows a bunch of basketball. And because of that, that's why he's here with me today. And the deal is, you saw the thumbnail, and that thumbnail said, well, it's Ja Morant. I don't know what the thumbnail said yet. I didn't make it. It's Ja Morant. We got to talk about him like everyone else is doing right now. And we're going to give you some insight over the next couple of minutes because that's what we need to roast this guy. Just a few minutes, an entire day. But Bias, welcome to the broadcast. Yo, Trav, Mad Ballin'. But before we even get to that, let's hit the intro. Man, Yo, Trav, Mad Ballin' for real.
Music and sports, it's all the same. Making a name for yourself to get in the game. You're going hard in the paint, you're doing your thing. Keeping the crowd entertained while growing your fame. From the streets to the league, overseas. Wherever your talent takes you for the trophies. When you come into the system, just by all in. Going hard to the goal and put the ball in.
Yeah, we're back again. And that intro right there, this intro was made a while back, man, and Ja Morant closed it out for me. I was going to use AI because that's my man. Ran with Ja because that's the new age, but my man's disappointed me. Let's talk about this thing with Ja Morant. What is going on with him? Everyone's had their opinion on it. Now we need us little guys to give an opinion on what Ja Morant has gotten himself into this time.
Yeah, I don't understand it. He comes from like a middle-class background, has both parents. I don't believe he grew up in that life. The only thing I can think of is the Memphis culture, all that whoop that trick music and all of that. Maybe he's had a bad influence on him, or maybe met a couple guys that kind of led him in that direction, but he still should not have made any of those decisions to go that way. I'm sure he was brought up correctly,
Exactly.
And he should be able to make better decisions.
A lot of the things that players bust their butts for from the beginning of their time playing basketball, like Dwayne Wade dribbling the ball in Chicago all these years in the snow, 11 o'clock at night, people yelling out of the window, stop dribbling that ball so he could get to this point. He came from that life. He came from Chicago. Most NBA players have come from a rough life, and basketball was their way out of it. He didn't grow up like this. He grew up with a mother and a father. He grew up with, had a sibling. They had, not a lot of money, but he wasn't struggling. He had a polo shirt on that was buttoned up to the top at one point, once upon a time. This guy is not he's not that guy that he wants to be. Why does he even want to be something like that?
I don't know. I don't understand the fascination with it. He's obviously drawn towards it for some reason. Maybe it's been glorified to him, or he wants to be something that he's not. Obviously, he's not familiar with guns because gun owners know you don't play with guns.
Nope, you don't.
You don't play with firearms. And for him to be in 2 videos playing with a firearm shows you his limited experience with firearms.
And that's the problem, because he's, for the second time, he was caught. After this alleged apology the first time around, or I learned my lesson primarily, and you get to this point, and now he's suspended for 30 games this time around? And because he's as talented as he is, like Kwame Brown mentioned, he's talented. They're not going to throw him out of the league, and they aren't, because they need this guy. They need that young generation. He was the one who's at least shown some promise on the basketball court between he and Zion Williamson, with Zion Williams, because Zion Williams is
can't stay healthy. Right. And the thing about it is, it's all Ja Morant's doing. He's responsible for it. But would he have gotten a clearer message had Silver gave him a stiffer suspension the first time? One thing I was saying at the time, I was telling people, Silver don't have the balls that David Stern had.
Oh, no.
I mean, if David Stern was still around and the commissioner, that's at least 25 games. At least 25 games for Ja Morant. The first time around.
Oh, yeah, the first time around, because David Stern didn't play games.
Right. Now Adam Silver's on TV looking like he's been betrayed, all in his feelings. And if he would have handled his business the first time,
Yep.
the second time might not have happened.
Because we all know David Stern and what he did to Michael Jordan as he retired and with the baseball.
We're going down the rabbit hole now.
Well, that's another issue for another day.
But here's another thing. A lot of people are saying his friends. In the second video, the guy was recording him, and as soon as he saw the gun, he tried to point the phone away from Ja. It was just too late. So you can't blame his friend for that. His friend's like, hey, we're having a good time, blah, blah, and then Ja pulls out the gun. That's all Ja. And you can say maybe he should pick his friends better. I'm sure a lot of us can. But he didn't say, hey, Ja, pull it out. No, he tried to stop recording before it got on camera. It was too late.
We're talking about a 12-year-old guy right here. I mean, we're talking as if we're talking about a teenager who's just getting in and out of trouble. This is a grown man. And we still talking about what he shouldn't do. He shouldn't mess with guns. He shouldn't do this. He shouldn't do that. He's doing all of it, all of the above. And now he's really paying consequences. And it really has affected the team. And what had happened the first time, I think, really affected the team. I think they regressed this year as opposed to last season. I mean, last season they were, 30 games over 500. This year here, they not exactly 30 games over 500. They didn't do as well in the playoffs. There was a lot of dissension on that team. Kind of a little bit like what happened in Golden State when Poole and Green had the issue in the preseason. And we see how that turned out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it looks like they never repaired that situation in Golden State. But anytime you lose a starting franchise player for any amount of time, the team has to adjust while he's out. And then they have to adjust again when he comes back.
But this was supposed to have been the year that the Grizzlies, because I thought that was probably the best team, young team in the NBA that we had a chance to watch over for the long term. Them, Minnesota. You had the young teams now. I thought they were going to take off. Minnesota took steps back. Memphis took steps back, but we see the reasons why Memphis took steps back this year.
Right. I think the young team to watch out for is Sacramento, actually.
Oh, no one saw that preseason otherwise. I didn't see that coming anyway. I was happy to see them coming out and doing what they're doing.
They're on the West Coast. A lot of people don't get to see them play, but I think this year's playoffs was a coming out party for the Brown Fox.
Hey, Oklahoma City too, man. Oklahoma City's another one of those young teams. Orlando's starting to make a little noise with Boncaro down there. Bro, we got some young teams out there that's finally stepping up and they're building the teams there the right way. Detroit's the only one who can't figure it out. Houston seems to be following suit. But those teams that we just named, but going back to the Ja issue, man, I mean, look, this was my guy. When he came out of college, he was my guy. Before he left college, when he was making bread for me, when he was a college player at Murray State, playing against Alabama and Auburn, he was making bread for me, not winning the game, but keeping it close enough to make money. And I followed him in the NCAA tournament. In his sophomore year, he had the triple-double, as an average going into the tournament. The buzz was there, kind of like the way that it was there for Steph Curry when he was coming out of Davidson. And then he goes into the league. I wanted him as a Knicks fan. I wanted him as
a Bulls fan.
I wanted him as a Knicks. I wanted him, not Zion. And he lives up to expectations. He reminded me so much of AI. That's probably why I gravitated to him. But you know what? The difference between he and AI grew up in a life he didn't choose. And so he became a product of his environment. And so the things AI did and we watched before our eyes and watched him grow up along the way, that was all real. That wasn't AI trying to be something he wasn't. Everything is outside of basketball is being what he's not.
Yeah, and again, I can't call it. I don't understand it. He has a chance for generational wealth, and he's already gotten hit in the pocketbook, and it's going to get worse with this incident.
Yeah, and the money's there. I think his contract over 190 million, probably 200 million. I mean, come on. The generational wealth was done with 1 year of the contract. If you really want to get down to it, if you got $38 million in one season, that's generational wealth. You don't even have to really know what to do, but you need to know what to do. But the other money and just doing it as part of your career, then the endorsements that come along with it, man, he was set up and he just throwing it away. And this deal with his father, man, it's like, it's a bad shine on his father, but then you look at his father every chance he gets, he wants the camera more than Ja.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't know too much about his father, but you would think his father would pull him aside and say, hey, son, you're going down the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
Did you lose your way? Let's get back on the right track. We got to start doing things the right way. And obviously that's not happening.
It was a nice story, man. It's still a nice story the way he came about and becoming who he is today as far as a basketball player. All of that taken away, at least right now, for the moment, and he's still young. He could probably change the trajectory of this because he wants to do things outside of basketball that just make him look bad and conforms to stereotypes. All of these things the NBA tried to get rid of, and they did a good job getting rid of it. Now you have a lot more, at least projected, Grant Hills than you had a bunch of bad Agent Zeros from back in the day bringing guns into the locker room.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really at a loss for words. I just go back to Adam Silver. If he had handled it correctly the first time, he's too much of a player's commissioner. They all say it. Yeah, I mean, it's good to be loved, but if you're the commissioner of the league, you can't be best friends with the players. There's going to come a time where, like this incident, you're going to have to lay down the hammer, and you can't have feelings involved. And if you like somebody, you're buddy with them, it makes that decision tough. And obviously, in my opinion, he didn't do the right. He didn't give a stiff enough punishment the first time.
Well, as the commissioner, just like in the NFL, but rather Goodell, you're actually on the behalf of the teams, the franchises. That's what the commissioner is supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to compartmentalize of what's best for the organization, the entire National Basketball Association, but you're on the side of the teams, the franchises, and there's a balance that you have to really deal with the players, and you want to be cordial and have a nice working relationship with them and whatnot. But yeah, like you said, he's trying to be friends with these guys and still try to hold that balance with the owners. And it's a crazy thing to do, to balance this thing out. And
a tough line to walk.
Huh?
Tough line to walk.
Yeah, it is a tough line to walk because now you have to make this. If he would have made that decision the first time, do we get this the second time? I don't know now because the way Ja's been acting and just, you're going to get this. Hopefully this is the last time. If there's a third time, I don't know what to say. We can't even be facetious about it. This could be a third time. There could be a third time.
Yeah, you're right. There could be. Does he really need to seek help? Does he need counseling?
But counseling,
I don't know. What? I mean, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Not even drugs. He's
just
addicted to the
doing
life.
idiotic things on the internet, on social media. No one's saying you can't own a gun. Just don't flash it. The old saying is, if you pull it, you better use it. Well, he's just pulling it for no reason.
For no reason, showing people that he's hard, bro. You play basketball, man. You're not boxing, MMA, or any combat sport. You're playing basketball, bro.
Let's see his friend drive through Compton or Gary, Indiana, and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. This dude's from South Carolina, and I don't want to go with the tribalism that these states do and these cities do. But come on, man. You're not, South Carolina is not exactly going to stand out on a map when it comes down to this is a place you need to avoid. In fact, you run to South Carolina from Chicago if there's problems. You know what I'm saying?
We're trying to hide out. We're trying to
hide out over there. And he decides he wants this life, man. And, guns are easy to get down there in South Carolina, at least legally, because in Chicago, guns are easy to get, whether legal or illegal. So what? They still got them. And he just wants it. Who is he trying to impress? People out in the street? I mean, because
they real recognize real, and they know he's not real.
And that's the truth. I think there's been some gang members who've already had spoken about, yo, bro, this dude's not legit, man. Come on, you kind of embarrassing the gang members, and you're not even a gang member or whatever, man. They're taking offense to it.
I think it's just sad, man. If you recall, we were texting, you were telling me, how you like Ja, and I like his game too. Man. I said I fear for his health because he's always falling down. He's a high flyer, plays above the rim. Those guys not usually, but some guys get an injury and it just changes their whole life, right? Their whole basketball career.
Yeah.
But this guy's doing stuff off the court that's hurting his basketball career.
Absolutely. I mean, and you know what? Somebody, you know how ignorant people can be these days. They could call him out on the street and shoot at him. He's already had another incident with this kid, the 17-year-old kid he punched in the face. You know, all of this, and the kid was going to come back with the blicky. But this is a life he's choosing, though. You know, I saw videos of him just about a year or two ago in Memphis with the pickup games. Everybody loving him out there. I don't even think he can do something like that anymore without bodyguards. He might have to walk around like Floyd Mayweather with a bunch of bodyguards now to save him from himself.
He's not going to walk his kids to school, huh?
I know, like Mike Tyson says, man. You gotta if you have respect, man, you can walk your kids to school by yourself. But he just walked himself into this hole, man. And now one of his father can be the one to tell him, yo, this is not the way to go. When his father's out there trying to get limelight himself, trying to get shine.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe his father saw LeVar Ball and he's like, hey, I can be just like LeVar.
Or you need some bad sneakers to come out with. You'll be all right. Shoot. And the joints that aren't selling for $300 a piece or something.
I don't know. Somebody needs to, or his dad needs to get his head on straight so he can help Ja get his head on straight.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So anyway, I thought it was good for us to at least come on here, man, because everybody has seemed to chime in about this incident. And hey, we're the little guys compared to the other YouTubers or people on the national scene with television and radio shows talking about this. But everyone is talking about it. And maybe it does something to him because everyone is talking about it. You know, that's my view on why is he doing it. There's no reason, rhyme, for him to do it. Everyone else in basketball who've come from a rough life are trying to get out of that life. LeBron wanted to get out of Akron. That's why he is where he is right now. You know what I mean? You like him or love him or hate him. You know, he wanted out of that life. He lives in his gated community, even though he tells you that you should live in one. But either way, another story for another day.
Yeah,
but,
hopefully the light goes on for Ja sometime soon, man.
This is a dangerous world. It's a dangerous world these days. A lot more dangerous than it was just a couple of years ago. And people just shoot you for clout, and they'll sit behind bars for 50 years and the only claim to fame is I killed so-and-so.
Right.
You know, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we could come to a conclusion on this. We've been on the air now for 17 minutes. So, hey, we got a little bit out there. So thanks for joining me on this episode of Yo Trav Mad Ballin', which is on the Yo Trav Sports Back Network.
Video.
Huh?
Thanks for having me on a non-boxing video.
Oh, yeah. Yo, bro, between you and I think we put together better shows once we shut down the shows that we do than we do in the actual show.
Yeah.
Man, the shows that we do are like 30 minutes, and then the shows that we don't do are
another
like an hour. We talking this after a boxing show. That's how this came out, talking basketball.
Right.
But anyway, I'd like to thank anybody who decides to watch this. Yo, thanks for showing up. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and do that. Smash the like button like everybody says. If you like this kind of content, share with everyone, because this isn't just about basketball. And as you know, it may be a whole lot more about boxing, but we try to talk sports in general. College basketball is past. College football is coming up. People changing conferences and whatnot. You're a Nebraska fan. We might have you on again sometime next season.
All right. I'm still trying to get out there for Florida State, man. I got to see Chief Osceola plant the spear.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I was at Florida State one year. They played against Maryland, and the place was rocking. The ground was shaking. That's how loud they were screaming out there. And I plan on going to the LSU game in Orlando this year, and I'm going to South Carolina for the Florida Gator game. So that's what's going to happen this upcoming season. But that's another story for another day. Thanks for joining us on Yo Trav's Mad Balling, part of the Yo Trav Sports Bag Network. For Bias and myself, until next time.